We've had a lot of issues this morning, but we're going to make it work. Or it's not even morning. It's 4 o'clock.
What time do you think it is, bud?
It's morning for Jordan.
I'm on the middle of the Pacific Ocean time. Welcome to Cracked Movie Club, the show where we do a book club, but for movies, which are like books, but better. I am your host, Jordan Breeding, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Jesse and Allie. Say hello.
Hi.
What's up?
And today we have a special guest, writer and comedian. And you didn't actually say, I won't say what show you were on. But if you want to reveal that at some point.
Mystery!
Yeah, ooh, I'm going to J.J. Abrams mystery box this. It's Samantha.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Great to be here.
And what are we watching today? Thank you for being here, by the way.
Josie and the Pussycats. The greatest film.
Honestly? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm on board, man.
Wait, I have a question before we jump in earnest.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Jesse, your first time watching it?
Yes.
Jordan, your first time watching it?
Yes.
Wild. Samantha, not your first time watching it? Yeah, me neither. I watched this a lot as a teenager.
Me too.
A lot.
It was a childhood favorite. And then
Totally.
a few years ago, I was like, oh yeah, I love that movie. And I started watching it every year on my birthday.
100%.
Oh,
this was definitely shout out to Rebecca, my cool older cousin, but a lot of girls with cool older cousins, this was a movie that your cool older cousin introduced you to, and that was definitely a thing for me where I was I don't know, 11, 12, and she was just a little bit older and was this movie's so fun, the music's great, and it's kind of subversive. And as a kid I really liked it, but I was rewatching it now and I was oh, this movie fully rocks hard. This is just a fantastically written and made movie.
It was so ahead of its time.
100%.
Yeah. And it really is. I mean, it really is subversive. It really is cool. The cool older cousin thing. Sometimes they'll show you I don't know, Fight Club or something. But but this is this is very important. It's very fun, and it was written. It was written for girls. It was directed to girls, as from what I've read, but not at all in a cynical way. More in an empowering way. So it's, I don't know. Yeah, it must have been very cool to be a teenage girl and watch this film.
I mean, the music really does slap. I think.
Oh, just really
that's
quickly.
Just a big part of it.
We got somebody gave us 5 of some unexplained currency.
Are those Bitcoins?
Maybe
I
euros.
believe it's euros.
Yeah.
Oh, Euro, the most famous of all the Bitcoins.
Euro coin.
Favorite crypto.
You got to buy the dip. Also. Yes, fine. We'll do Demolition Man at some point. I've never seen it, but
never even heard of it.
You're giving us money, so we'll just do it next week. You guys want to do that? Do you care? Do we have another movie?
Do I care?
I don't.
I might not even be alive next week. Whatever. Let's do it.
All right, we're doing it. We're doing Demolition Man next week. I just,
unless somebody gives us 6 euros.
Yeah. If anybody has 6 euros, you can outbid Demolition Man.
Do we have 6? I'm not involved in this at all.
Yeah. We're not even monetized, so this is the only money the video is gonna make is that 5 euros. So hooray, we did it. Sorry, what were you all saying? It's a girls' movie. It's empowering. Your cousins
that it
like
rocks. That it slaps.
It rocks. It's girl power without being girl boss.
100%. And also something that I probably was not quite smart enough to put my finger on when I was younger, but was now watching it this week was I like that it has a lot to say about consumerism and the music industry, but at no point does it say anything about pop music. A lot of films like this tend to be oh, pop music is the lowest common denominator of music. People who like it and enjoy it are brainless. Radio play music is garbage. And the movie is surprisingly uncynical about music and the creation of music. It's only cynical about the business of music. But do you know what I mean? Even in the marketing it to teen girls, and when the audience finally does get to hear them really actually play their song at the end of the movie, it really does feel like a celebration of friends getting together and making a band and rocking hard. And I kind of admire that, because in a movie that's so cynical about so many things, it seems to me to actively make a point to be actually making music is cool, and actually pop music kind of rocks too. We're not above it. We're actually going to mostly make fun of Metallica fans. This is kind of fair game.
Well, okay.
I think
so. Go ahead.
Oh, you go. Okay. I was just gonna say that I think it's like, I think it's really funny if you look back at reviews from 2001, and I think because it was a movie aimed at girls, like people could not process that it knew what it was doing and that it was purposefully subversive. So like a lot of the reviews are like, it's so consumer, and it's like, no, it's showing like all these companies for a reason.
Yeah.
But people thought it was so earnest.
Yeah. A Rotten Tomatoes like consensus review called it hypocritical for including like McDonald's and Target and stuff like that. Like, you missed the joke, buddy.
Also, apparently they didn't get paid for any of that stuff. It was just like fully part of the joke, part of the bit, and that like, you know, her sitting in a hotel room that's plastered with Revlon on every surface. Like Revlon did not pay for that. They were just like, oh, it'll be funny if it's Revlon, and so it was Revlon. And there was like a couple ones that were like intentionally funny. I wish I had written them down. I think I might be too stupid to have done it.
Random shower that has McDonald's logos all over it.
And there's another one when they're fighting and there's like a top-down view and there's like a logo that they're fighting on top of, but it's like, oh man, somebody will know the joke.
I don't remember.
But Target? There's a lot of Target stuff.
There's a lot of Target stuff. Before we get too far into this, let's recap this. Allie, do you mind?
Sure. I feel like we get too long in the recaps. I'm gonna keep this.
I think concise. You get too long in the recaps.
I'm gonna keep this concise for myself. Then this is a personal goal. You're never competing with anybody else other than yourself, except for when you're in a workout class and you choose that one woman who's your nemesis for the class.
Right.
Then you're competing against her.
Right.
Okay, great. So in this movie, there is a small town band in Riverdale, and they are called Josie and the Pussycats. It's Josie who's the front woman.
They're not.
Okay. What are they actually called?
The Pussycats.
Okay, great. They're yeah. They're the Pussycats.
That's a whole plot point.
Okay. Josie McCoy, she's the lead. Then there's her friends Val, who's on bass, and Melody, who's on drums. They are seemingly discovered out of nowhere by a big hit record producer who is like, I think you guys could be the next huge band. Of course, at first, they're a little skeptical because things seem to be happening so quickly, but it turns out they skyrocket with their first hit to #1 on the charts. It is revealed throughout the course of the movie that whether or not their music is good is almost not even the point. There is subliminal messaging that is put into these records, not just to buy things, but also to tell you what is or isn't good. And so like there's a funny scene where they're listening to it and they're like, I really want Gatorade. Gatorade is the new Snapple. But it's also a thing of fame sort of drives them apart, but it's also because they are able to subliminally message how you feel about your bandmates and things like that. So ultimately, it is a movie about consumerism and advertisement and how fame can mess with you and your head and your friends, but also about how great it is to make music together. Thank you.
That was great.
Fantastic.
Also, we got this question. Somebody was asking Riverdale ? Yes,
Yes.
The same Riverdale. And it's originally this began as an Archie comic,
Spin-off
like in that
comic,
same
something?
Yeah, in that same
Yeah.
world, which then became a cartoon, which then spun off into them in space, and then somehow became this movie, which is a very odd trajectory for what this ultimately became. So, Sam, why this movie? I mean, I know you already alluded to it, but why? What does this movie mean to you, other than it's something that you now watch every year?
On my birthday.
On your birthday specifically.
I love it because it is a movie for women that is not cynical toward women, which is rare for that era. I like it because you can tell that like women were involved. Another rarity for the era. I love the music. I think it's one of the best soundtracks of like the last, I was going to say 20 years, but I guess it's out of that window now. It's excellent. I think they had, of the century. They had Kay Hanley from Letters to Cleo do like Josie's voice, and I love Letters to Cleo. So that was a huge bonus for me. And overall, I think the combination of the movie wouldn't work if the music wasn't excellent, and it's excellent.
Completely.
It's a perfect encapsulation of like the pop punk that everyone was going insane over during that time in 2001. And I just think that it's such a cool, fun movie that has stakes, don't get me wrong, but like is feel good without being like too sugary sweet, and is funny. And like the Jour songs are hilarious. The boy band, it's extremely good. It's like a perfect parody of the NSYNC Backstreet Boy era. It's just a really great satire, and I don't feel like it got the flowers it deserved.
I agree with that.
Totally.
It is weird that people just like couldn't conceive of it, having faith that they knew what it was trying to do.
Yeah.
Like what a weird. Yeah. I don't know. We all were messed up about media though, like big time in that era, I feel. So like I'm not like surprised to hear that, but it is such a strange reflection of the time for people to have watched this movie that is so silly and so funny and been like, surely they couldn't have meant that to be a joke. I mean, when they cast Misty Pyle, obviously it was not on purpose. They didn't cast somebody who was funny to land these funny lines, right? And it's like it's a movie with Parker Posey. Like, what did you think? I don't know. It's so strange. People were like, I just feel like maybe it was supposed to be funny or something, but I don't understand. 3 women. I thought it was going to be about periods and drama. I don't know. It's like I don't know.
I would have liked it better.
It's for girls.
I would have liked it better if they switched Josie and the Pussycats with Jour, right? More Seth Green is what I want to see.
He was funny in this movie.
He's so good in it.
He really.
Jour just kills it.
He really, all those scenes are really excellent, and just like you can tell how funny a movie is if you get like a real laugh within the first like 5-ish minutes of the movie, and not like a little like ha ha titter, but like a true laugh. And when Jour is having a fight on the airplane, and while they're all yelling over each other, you hear just very quietly the lead singer go, what is exactly what he says first? Very quietly, he goes, Jour means friendship. And then the whole fight does end, and then he goes, Jour means family. I love it. It's so like I had like a real or true laugh.
I was definitely cracking up at like, Jour means seatbelts.
Jour means seatbelts. He's doing my face.
It's so good. And also, even in the beginning, there's a fun little joke where Melody, who's the stupid one, if you want to call her stupid, is holding up a sign that's like, honk if you love hugs. And then her next one's like, honk if you love pussy, ... cats. But she's holding it behind a telephone pole. And so like a bunch of men get into like a 3-car car crash because she's holding up a sign that says, honk if you love pussy. It's great. I definitely didn't get that when I was 11, but
I did not.
Yeah.
Now it's really funny.
There are multiple versions. Was that what you were going to say, Jesse? There are multiple versions of it. There is basically, and I think that's part of the problem, right? Sorry, not a problem, but like part of the reason that it might not have done so well is that it is kind of mature in a lot of ways. There are a lot of sexual jokes. Somebody mentioned in the comments before we started, this was in a time before bras or something. Like Tara Reid.
You ever watched Friends?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That is also predates this movie.
Just saying.
So
this movie did not invent women not wearing bras.
No, I'm not saying it did. I'm just saying that Tara Reid is a very attractive woman scampering about, and so I could see people basically whatever. The PG-13 version had a lot of sexual references, had a bunch of these women who were I think this is the showing female empowerment in that way, I think was confusing to people at the time. So when it came out on VHS, they actually recut it for PG. And so they somehow made it like tamer, like that joke presumably got cut out. Because
it is possible that I've never seen that joke. Because like when it happened as I was watching it, I was like, wow, I either was too stupid to know what that was, and that joke is erased from my memory of this film. Or honestly, it's possible I never saw a PG-13 cut of it until this week, and I was always watching the PG one.
And so
I saw it in theaters.
Oh, there you go.
And I think I must have seen both, but I was too young. I mean, in 2001, I was like 11 years old, so I think I was like too young to probably understand I had watched 2 different films.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I think it's possible they also released a PG-13 on DVD, but there's definitely at least a watered down version of it. But I think like with any satire, the thing that you run the risk of is which parts are real and which parts are, or like which parts are satirical and which parts are thoughtful and important or like intentional. And I can see potentially somebody going in and thinking that it was a movie about like a JoJo Siwa movie now where it's like she's the head cheerleader and people make fun of her and whatever. But this is a lot more layered than that. Like they're trying to make a statement on consumerism and not even just music, right? Like you're saying that it's not just saying this band is great in your headphones. It's also saying buy Gatorade.
Right. Gatorade is the new Snapple.
Yeah, switch your color preferences. That was one of the weirdest things when she walks in and she's like, something like pink is the new red, and I was like, thought everything was the new pink. I'd never even heard of it. And then they do it again. It's like, oh no, pink is the new, or orange is the new pink, and just like even as they're just
also
like
that's such a funny weird little. I don't know if that's like a thing from pop culture in general, but there's a line from Legally Blonde where she says, "Whoever said orange is the new pink was seriously disturbed." And they like that in my brain where I was like, oh, I guess I've seen that movie too many times also. That's also a line from Legally Blonde.
It tried to get me to watch Legally Blonde when I was finished.
Not a bad recommendation.
Yeah, the algorithm was like, you like this?
I mean, the best thing that it would recommend, but it is impossible to watch and not streaming anywhere, is Spice World.
Well, so I was
you can't find that anymore. It's just like gone.
I was hoping this would come up because I don't really remember a lot about it, but I remember it being sort of universally panned, and especially Roger Ebert gave it the same rating, gave the two movies the same rating, gave them each half a star, and he compared Josie and the Pussycats, like he basically equated it to Spice World, meaning that even Roger Ebert did not get this movie was funny. He just thought it was like another outlandish like chicks on stage.
I mean, I think it was probably a little smarter than that. I have faith in the man.
Well, I don't know. His quote was, he said, Josie and the Pussycats aren't as dumb as the Spice Girls, they're not dumber than the Spice Girls, but they're as dumb as the Spice Girls, which is dumb enough, is how he put it.
Spice World, which I have to admit, I think I've seen 3 times in my whole life because they have made it impossible to find or watch. One time was in theaters. It was a girl's birthday party, and so I went at the age of like 9 or 10. And then like, you know, at random things throughout my life where somebody was like, oh my god, I happen to have this on a VHS or a DVD, because they like have basically wiped it and you can't stream it. And it is stupid on purpose, but it definitely has less of a satirical unifying point of view about like pop music and culture than this movie does. Like this movie's like extremely overt, and to the point where I'm sort of like baffled that some people couldn't get it, like to the point where I'm amazed that these smart people aren't laughing at the jokes that are so obviously jokes. And Spice World is a little more ununifyingly silly stupid. There's like aliens, but also not, but also they're kind of parodying themselves as people. I don't know. It is also obviously supposed to be a comedy, and I think it was supposed to be an opportunity for us to engage with the characters they had created, because like Baby Spice is not a real person. The woman who plays Baby Spice might be, but like the character of Baby Spice is a character, and I think they were like playing up that like Posh Spice. There's a really famous movie, famous joke in the movie that maybe like we'll remember, where Posh Spice is like, hey, is my skirt too short? And they're like, oh, no, it's great. And she goes, okay. And she pulls it up shorter because like they said it was too short. Do you know what I mean? Like she's obviously making fun of herself and like the character she has developed in the world. I wish we could watch it. I just don't think it's like around.
I think there's something interesting to that where Spice World is benefiting from everybody knowing at the time who the Spice Girls were and being very, very familiar with the property, as it were. So they're playing with that. Again, I haven't seen it. I'm just assuming based on what you're saying. Whereas it's interesting because Josie and the Pussycats, again, is based off a thing, and the spinoff is them going to space and fighting aliens and shit. So like,
great, girls can do anything.
so, but it is interesting. I mean, presumably they're too far apart. I mean, even right now, I have to assume that the majority of people watching Riverdale on the CW are not like massive fans of the comics per se, in the way that people watching Green Arrow or whatever might really care about it. But I think when Josie and the Pussycats come out, it comes out 3 years after Spice World, and they're like, oh, it's like Spice World, but with a band I've never heard of or that doesn't exist. And I don't get it, and I don't like it. And, you know, like Spice Girls, you're like, oh, they're playing off their thing. That's fun. I get it. Although, to be fair, that one is also critically panned, but it did make 4 times its budget as opposed to this movie where it bombed in theaters and has since become a cult classic. But it's just, I don't know. It's like, I think it's really hard to invent a new thing to be satirical with or something. Like, I don't know. I just think it's a really weird movie in my mind.
Yeah, it really it feels extremely modern in that, like, if you had replaced some of the references to be a lot less 2001 and boy bandy, I 100% could believe that somebody wrote this as like a spec script that got like a great reading on like one of those screenwriting competitions, and this is like on the blacklist or whatever. Like, I 100% could believe that this movie was written in the last 5 years and it's just like waiting to be produced.
Yeah.
Not with the references as is, like Jour and stuff would probably be more like I don't know, a Billie Eilish type thing, but it feels extremely current.
Well, I feel like everyone is doing early 2000s period pieces right now. Like,
that's true.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Everything is set in 2003 right now. And like, we're having so much early 2000s nostalgia that I think that this movie as is could have been released right now.
You honestly,
and I think it would do better at the box office than it did.
You honestly might be right. It is weird that we
have such a nostalgia like thing for that era right now, and everyone dresses like people dressed in the movie.
I saw a TikTok, an earnest one, not a parody one, that was a girl recreating her mom's fashion from the 90s, and it was like denim Bermuda shorts and like a navy polo tucked in with a big belt and white sneakers with white socks, and like her hair in a high pony with burgundy lipstick. And the feeling that inspired in me has no words in the English language. You know what I mean? Like, maybe a word in German, but definitely not in English. And I was like, because at first I kind of thought it was a joke, and then as it went on, and then she was like kind of like just like showing it in the camera and just sort of being like, this is kind of tight, this is kind of fierce, this is how my mom dressed. I was like, oh my god, it's real. It's 100% real, and it is kind of fierce. It is still kind of actually how I dress. I don't know. I have too many feelings about it to like find a way to say what it is.
I think you're right. Like, I almost think with a lot of these things, I mean, it did become a cult classic, right? You sort of have to be removed from it to appreciate it a little bit, because I think there's something weird about kind of the late 90s, early 2000s, where everybody was sort of trying to be cynical and satirical, but also the 90s were fun, man, and we're still doing it, and everything's fun, and everybody's happy all the time, and nothing can feel that dark or anything.
Then what happened, Jordan? What happened?
Well, right. Then
what happened? Why didn't we stop being so happy?
Then Alan Cummings abandoned another band over New York City. And that plane.
That's what happened. I see.
Yeah, this is
I think if 9/11 didn't happen, this movie would have made 300 mil.
I like the idea that you're going to go back in time to make sure 9/11 didn't happen just so this movie can be a success and get the credit it was due.
I got to stop 9/11 because of my favorite movie. Yeah.
But there was also like a Rilo Kiley song around that time that was super popular, but had the phrase "sometimes planes they smash up in the sky," and it was on their 2001 album, and they were like, "Well,
yeah." There's a lot of weird stuff like that. Jimmy Eat World had their big album come out. It was called Bleed American, and they were like, "Nope, it's called Jimmy Eat World again."
No, it's called Love to Be American. It's called 100%. No one should come to my house because I love being American so much.
Right.
It's called
and then there was and Chumbawamba had an album called "Don't Go to Work in Early September," and they had
Stay in your tub and keep tub thumping.
Yeah.
Did they have any other hits besides tub thumping? I don't think so.
Yeah, it was when the tower goes down, we build it up again. It was kind of weird.
Have you guys seen Girls Five Eva?
Yes.
Which is also in the spirit of this movie.
Very much
and
so.
excellent. But there's a whole plot line that like one of their songs couldn't be released because it was about like we're flying planes through the sky.
Yeah.
And it was released in like 2001 on September 8th or something.
Good grief.
Not to be
9/11 affected us all. Go on.
I actually get paid by big theater every time I bring up theater stuff. I get paid big, actually. You have no idea, Jordan, how much I'm getting paid.
Euros?
Not by you. I'm getting paid at least 6
7
euros every time I think something about Broadway instead.
That's more than we're making here, yeah.
There's a Stephen Sondheim musical called Assassins. That's a great musical, but it's about the people who either attempted to or successfully assassinated presidents. And that was like, there was a huge revival planned for the fall of 2001. And they also canceled it because it just like felt sort of cynical and anti-American, even though actually like when you watch it, it very much isn't. But there was just no way they were going to sell tickets to a show.
And what's more patriotic than assassinating American presidents? I don't even understand why that would be.
It's my God-given right. Don't come
we've
to my
been doing
house.
it forever.
Don't come to my house. I didn't mean that. It was a joke. I'm joking.
Thank you for that clarification. My only point, though, in saying all of that was to say that the lines were a little bit potentially too close for people to separate sometimes. Whereas now, something like that, I think everything is already so cynical and sad, and everybody's pissed all the time that you're just like, oh, okay, they're doing a thing. They're making a point. They don't mean it because nobody means any. Like we just assume that everybody is starting from a sad, angry place, and you have to convince people that there's something good at the end, as opposed to here, everybody's like, everything's great, and they're like, no, we actually have a critique, and they're like, I don't get it.
You know how? So you know, like everybody compares everything to Idiocracy. It's almost like Idiocracy was the first time that like pop culture at large was able to recognize satire. But this movie came out. This movie came out 5 years.
Satire.
Yeah, but this movie came out 5 years before Idiocracy, and it did a lot of the same stuff. At least as far as like the weird, the like in your face brand integration kind of jokes.
Yeah,
but it got fully overlooked. And like I said with that review I quoted earlier, critics just didn't understand that was a joke until Idiocracy. So that's just another reason why it would do better today, because people are already primed to be like, oh, movies can make you think about stuff.
All right, and to clarify, Idiocracy is not the first satire.
No, it's definitely the first satire. It's 100% the first satire ever written and produced.
No, but I'm saying I think
I invented something.
Yeah, no, but I think it's an early time that like the masses were able to be like, oh yes, this is like, I can put my thumb on this. This is satire.
I think definitely of the early 2000s, like stupid happy brand of it, where it's like, this is actually, there's a cynical undercurrent. I mean, there's like, you can go all the way back to like Network and stuff, as even just one from the 70s. Anyway, or you go to Jonathan Swift or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah,
people on
I understand
Tumblr,
what you're saying.
People on Tumblr and Reddit are always talking about Network. What I'm saying is people will reference Idiocracy all the time.
Idiocracy walked so that a modest proposal could run.
Exactly. What did he say? What did he say? €1 is 1.03 higher than the US dollar.
Yeah. So we thanks. Is it Vegeta? Royal Vegeta?
Yeah, you did it. What's another way to say it?
You got roasted hard for that one though. That last.
I know I did. So now we made what, $7 and 21 cents or something like that.
That's great.
Thank you, Europe. Once again,
I'm going to use that money to buy Shirley Jackson's The Lottery and take it extremely seriously.
Yes. So here's what's going to happen right now. I'm going to press this button. A curse.
Whoa.
So here's a question.
Oh.
Here's my.
I didn't know we could prepare for tech.
Yeah. I'm multitasking over here. So here's a theory that I have not seen anywhere else. You all ready? So there were 4 actresses that auditioned for Val. That's her name?
Yes.
Val Rosario Dawson.
Mm-hmm.
There was her, obviously. Beyonce.
Yes.
Also, how do you I was
Vegeta.
a little bit separate from everything in the 90s. So
are you talking about Lisa Left Eye Lopez?
I know I can pronounce Left Eye. How do you pronounce
Aaliyah?
Aaliyah. Okay. So here's what I think happened.
You really were sitting in the mud playing with sticks.
I didn't have TV. We didn't have radio. You know, I was just hanging out. I was playing GameCube. or N64. So 4 actresses tried out. 2 are dead within a year of this film's release. 2 go on to mega stardom. I think that they conspired, Rosario Dawson and Beyonce, to kill. I don't know.
Normally, Jesse's
also
one with weird curse
interesting
things.
That you would put Rosario Dawson and Beyonce
on the same level of fame.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Beyonce did it better.
Beyonce never got to have sex with Cory Booker, did she?
We don't know. She can do anything she wants.
That might be Rosario
Daredevil
Dawson's
is a great show.
I saw a quote about this. Hold on, what was it?
Okay, then maybe Beyonce cursed all 3 of them, but Rosario survived and has managed to
fought
continue.
her way through.
Mhm.
Beyonce, Aaliyah, and Lisa Left Eye Lopez auditioned for the role of Valerie Brown. The screenwriter or co-screenwriter and director Elfont said that they wanted someone who knew how to do comedy. Lopez read for the part twice. She really wanted the role. Beyonce was quiet and shy, and Aaliyah was serious and thoughtful. I loved that quote. What a fun little summation of what these people were like when they were brought in to like read for these characters.
Well,
Thinking of Beyonce as quiet and shy really is surprising.
I have heard that she is like on the more reserved side.
She's really funny in Austin Powers, which came out, I assume,
she
within
is funny
3
in
years
Powers.
of this. She's like very, very funny in that movie.
Maybe she did that because she was upset that she didn't get Josie and the Pussycats.
Yeah.
She was like, "Oh, they think I'm quiet.
Oh, you think I'm quiet and shy?
Now,
I'm gonna make out with Austin Powers.
I'm gonna be in an Austin Powers vehicle."
Honestly, maybe.
I do think it's interesting. So Rosario Dawson is great, but I don't necessarily think of her as a particularly comedic actress either. I mean, she's good in this and she's funny in that, but she is also the thoughtful one anyway. Yeah. You know, it's kind of interesting.
Funny in the movie. She lands a couple really.
She does.
She lands a couple good jokes.
Sure, but I don't think of her as like wacky.
The band as the more grounded.
I agree. I will say though, Tara Reid is so funny, like so unbelievably giftedly funny. I'm sort of sad she didn't get to do more funny stuff. I think her performance in this movie is like exceptional. I love a well-meaning dummy. It's like probably one of my favorite character archetypes like in the world. And I think she just like lands every joke and is still so lovely. And like doesn't seem to be mean or making fun of herself or women like that at all. But it is also not without its own like humor. Like it's not angelic. It is like stupid too. I think she's good. And it's a shame that the only other thing of hers we've watched on this podcast has been Sharknado.
Which is
I watched
great.
Scrubs.
Yeah, we had a great time. We had a really excellent time.
I feel like Tara Reid in this movie has big Jason from The Good Place vibes.
1,000,000%. That line where when Josie's like evil and she's like, puppies turn into dogs and dogs get old and they die. And that's like the worst thing she's ever heard. And she like runs away crying. I was like, wow, I love all of this. No notes.
Yeah, I mean, she played like a real kind of a nuanced kind of ditz, you know, like I think she's just this master craftsman when it comes to like to ditzes. Not even just, she's more than a hot idiot. He's like,
yeah, there's something more there. There's an indescribable specialness that makes her go beyond like hot idiot, which is like totally an archetype also, but like she's got a little something special that like you feel charmed and protective and like she's just like lovely in her lovely dumbness.
Yeah, there's a few times when she like just really hit the nail on the head describing somebody's character, literally like saying like, oh, the evil guy, he seems like he's evil because nobody really likes him and they just use him for his power and stuff. The way she said that was the exact same energy that she says any of the dumbest things, which then make you for a second be like, wait, is there wisdom in the other stuff she's saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also a line like on the other
Yeah.
side of that. Like, I love how many times in this movie people just say what is happening. Like, I really mean that. Like, I think more comedy could benefit from people trying to be less clever and just fucking saying what's happening. And like, one of my favorite parts is at the very end of the movie when the two villains have revealed that they were both social outcasts and actually are now in love because they were the only people who like cared about each other in high school. One person's like, so what, only freaks should be in love with each other? And then somebody else is like, no, like, I think we're just supposed to like try and see who we really are inside. And then Missy Pyle's character goes, unlike you, whack jobs, I'm perfect just as I am. And that at that exact moment, someone walks in and goes, holy shit, that girl's got a skunk on her head.
Yeah. Another killer line from her. I'm pretty sure it's her. Yeah. Like early on, her brother, like the manager or whatever, is, I don't know what he's supposed to be saying, but he says, I don't know why you're still here. And she just goes like, oh, I'm here because I'm there in the comic books.
Yeah, I love it.
Just perfect fourth wall breaking.
Yeah.
That's funny. The holy shit raccoon on your head was the part where I laughed the most.
It was
that
great.
Was my
and it
favorite.
happened so fast.
Yeah.
They use their few curses. They use them really, really well.
Yes.
Yeah. I want to mention really quickly that the clown eating out of a trash can was one of my favorite sight gags I've seen in a long time. I don't know if you guys noticed that.
I missed it.
Josie is realizing that she's being brainwashed or whatever. She's walking down the street and kind of freaking out, and everything is sort of going wild. And there's a clown eating out of a trash can. And I was like, I don't know who decided that or why. Maybe it's from a panel. Maybe they're doing the Zack Snyder thing where they're like, no, it's straight from the comics. But I thought it was very inspired. I was very delighted that there's just a freaking clown eating out of a trash can. I thought it was important that we noted that.
Now I'm just imagining a Snyder cut of Josie and the Pussycats and like other devoted comic book fans. So I think they're owned by DC. Just being like, release it.
I think that
because I believe it's owned by Warner, which owns DC. So
I think you're right, because I was going to say CW stuff is all over HBO, which is Warner Brothers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
DC.
Ultimately,
Warner, so that means that Josie and the Pussycats are DCU.
Okay.
Whoa.
I hope they're in the next Joker movie.
Hey, maybe. We don't know what time period it is. Maybe it'll be another period piece where the Joker's like, I just freaking love Josie and the Pussycats, and he's walking around.
I'm still a little shaken up about 9/11. It was kind of recent, but not that recent.
But recent enough that we're still in the cultural zeitgeist.
That's so what causes him to snap in that movie. He's like, why did nobody watch this?
Yeah. Oh my God, the Joker's the Joker because nobody appreciates his favorite movie. And his favorite movie is Josie and the Pussycats, (2001).
Yeah, he's like, I got the satire, but nobody else did. Corporations.
I'm kind of into this. Speaking of just like this movie and its aesthetic and everything, I was obsessed with it as a kid because they're all dressed great and like look beautiful. And now as an adult, first of all, I think Parker Posey as Fiona is the height of fashion. I would walk out the door today in anything she wore in that movie. I think it's phenomenal. And also it made me realize, like, I had like a memory that when I was a kid, I wanted the Josie haircut so badly. It was also the Willow from Buffy haircut, the like sort of like spiky, short, choppy hair flips out to the side haircut.
Yeah, it's not a real haircut in real life.
Humans can't do it. It's not meant to be done by humans.
It's not.
Josie,
it's just for film and movie.
Josie and the
Pussycats
so
right.
is Dragon Ball Z for girls.
It really might be, because I begged for this hairstyle so much, and my mom kept being like, your hair can't do that. And I was like, well, you don't know. You don't cut hair. So we like went to a salon and we like sat down and I brought like pictures. I printed out pictures of Allison Hannigan and Buffy, and they were like, your hair can't do this. And I like left with no haircut. I like had a memory of that while watching this movie. And I was like, oh, right. Oh yeah. This isn't what humans look like.
I respect
early 2000s
that hair
hair is just like going Super Saiyan for women.
All those women went totally Super Saiyan, and they neglected to explain that the average human can't go Super Saiyan.
Jesse would know, right? Explain
just
how
have to-
one goes Super Saiyan. You just did that video.
Train super hard. I honestly forget. I don't remember the details. I haven't gone Super Saiyan in quite some time.
Royal Vegeta, give us 100 euros and then also explain to us how it...
Oh yeah, we're just purely catering to this person now.
Yeah. I assume one person's watching and it's Royal Vegeta.
How about you hand over some more euros? Okay, good night, everybody.
Watch this. I'm gonna stir the pot a little bit. Oh yeah, you go Super Saiyan because somebody steals your monkey tail.
Oh, don't know what that means. But
yeah,
I agree.
no, definitely. For
I
sure.
vaguely know what it means.
I just by the way, as a side note, I think one thing that's really interesting about this movie is also the same thing that was interesting about Elvis, which is depicting women emphatically freaking, and men actually, but freaking out over musicians. And I actually found that article that I referenced in Elvis, and I forgot to actually read it. So next time we do a movie, but just something about this phenomenon of women, young women usually losing their shit to some kind of like star or musician or whatever. And it's kind of like a traceable phenomenon. The Atlantic has a really interesting article trying to figure out why. And I would paraphrase it in some useful way, but alas, I didn't
do his research.
Who's got the time? Well, another Elvis.
I'll throw it in the chat. How about that?
Yeah, toss it in the chat. Another Elvis parallel was how they the whole like the big final concert was going to be telecast across the world. And I thought it was interesting because in the Elvis movie, they say that Elvis was Elvis's manager was the first person to do that. So just said to me that they knew, they're like, I would love to know if the writers / directors, like if they were comic book people first, or if they were like, had a history in the music industry. Cause it seemed like they really knew their shit as far as how the music biz works and how exactly to like lampoon it in a way that the masses would understand.
I will say at that final concert, everyone's having such a good time, and it's interrupted for a solid 45 seconds when that guy decides to say that he loves Josie.
That was so funny.
If I was at the concert, I'd be like, shut up.
That
Shut
felt like
up. I'm having a really good time. You're totally ruining the vibe, you weird, tall, white dude. Like,
that felt like
out
a
of
bit.
Here.
That felt like either like a Monty Python sketch or like an I think you should leave character, like crowd surfing guy who's in love with the who's trying to win back the front woman.
Yeah, so I think that's part of what probably confused. I just think shoehorned in love stories like that, it doesn't really add. I mean, it's necessary, I guess, but the guy just like shows up with a Pizza Hut pizza. Yeah. 2 or 3 times or whatever.
I mean, that feels very 2001.
Right.
Everything I've said so far has been that feels very 2001 parentheses yay, and this feels very 2001 parentheses derogatory, because like it felt like almost every movie at that time really did feel the need to shoehorn in some sort of romantic lead or make sure we were 100% positive that the lead woman was straight. Do you know what I mean? Like that's very 2001 that they were just like, no. Even like, do you remember like that really weird Scooby-Doo movie? They like made sure everybody hooked up with somebody at the end of the movie, and they were all people of the opposite gender, no exceptions. Do you know what I mean? Like it was very much like, do you know what I mean?
Oh,
it is a great
film. I was
film.
gonna say that weird Scooby-Doo movie. Oh, you mean a great piece of cinema?
I mean, it is a really great piece of cinema. It was weird in that it felt away from the tone and genre of all previous Scooby-Doo type things. But again, as much as I think that, there you go. As much as I think that, I think that movie's excellent. And
he dresses as a grandma on a plane.
But even then, they were like, look, Shaggy up until this point has basically been a sexless being. It is very important, though, that people understand that he can fuck and will fuck, but only if it's a woman. Do you know what I mean?
Given the opportunity, that guy's gonna fuck.
Given the opportunity, this guy will. Yes, dude.
Yeah.
Another 2 euros.
Your kids.
I have kids. They won't see this money, but I'll tell them it's from you.
Yeah.
If my kids ever lay a single eye on a euro, they're out of the house. It's like,
but yeah, that's it. This is like, it feels very of its time in that like the assumption was no one will care, no one will anything unless we make sure there's a cute boy for us to also enjoy. Even if he has no plot line and nothing to do, if he's not there, somehow the movie's bad. Very 2001.
It's very weird that they made him musical. Like I thought that was gonna play, like his voice seemed okay. Like that was such an
Mhm.
odd thing to say. He also music, but we don't want to like get into whether he's good or if he's
I'm
like
guessing that got
talented.
cut down.
Oh,
I'm like,
interesting.
I am guessing there was a larger plot line with that, and to make it around an hour 30, because that's all we have the attention span for as ladies. I feel like they probably cut it out, and they probably just should have cut him out because it didn't do
Yeah, it didn't do anything.
But
And
I also understand that like networks and stuff, that like they want you to have that so badly.
Yeah, I believe.
I
it. Well,
can
Just have
see
a movie about friends.
I can see the pressure to keep it. Exactly. And that like it is cool that nowadays we sort of trust people more in like a Girls Five Eva type thing to be like, no, the relationship of this film, this movie, this franchise, this whatever, is the friendship between these characters. Like I'm interested in how these friends interact with each other and how time has changed them, and like they're friends, but that's the backbone of this thing. And there's very little pressure to appease anything else, of just being like, no, it really is just allowed to be about these 5 women who are friends.
right.
Yeah.
Like I remember how in the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, like they made it very clear that the pants are boy pants, and that they really feel a connection with the pants, and they're just like, just so you know, we're all straight. Also, actually they're not, are they? Isn't there? I don't know. I haven't seen it as
Sure, I haven't seen it in years.
I was going to say really quick, I do think it would have been fine if, I mean, it would have been pretty typical, but Josie goes so far astray. She tries to write a song to appease whatever. That's what's weird, I guess, about the subliminal messaging thing, where it's like you could literally write anything. And that's what they do at the end, right? They write a song that people non-brainwash. But you would have thought that the poor simple boy playing at the bar would be like, just write from your heart. They'll love it.
Is he Tiny Tim?
Tiny Tim with Pizza Hut. Also, I was going to mention so that concert, they actually filmed that for free with real people. Like those are all there of their own volition.
They're not CGI?
They're not CGI, and everybody learned their instruments and actually sang, and it's a real concert that they threw. And the girls were having so much fun that they actually spent too much time filming them, because they were like, we're rock stars. This is the best. A bunch of people started leaving. So you actually, the directors have pointed out there's no full shot of the arena because they couldn't, like they were trying to shoot t-shirts at people, offer them hot dogs and shit. But like people were like, I mean, this is free. This is fun. But like,
I can't even see Tara Reid.
And so they spent like an hour shooting them, and then like, oh my God, everybody's leaving. So they're like,
Isn't that a joke we made literally a year ago at this point about that giant crowd orgy scene in Perfume Story of a Murderer?
Wow, yeah.
Aren't we like, have we not come to third beats? Like we're here. We've arrived.
That everybody, some people were just there for fun? Or what do you mean?
There were I mean, look, it's been a year now, but I feel like at a certain point we were saying like we were joking that none of those people in that crowd scene were paid extras. They were all there of their own volition to have a giant naked orgy scene, and then more people just kept joining because it seemed fun, and that like nobody there was SAG. Like it was just funsies.
Hey Ma, you gotta get over here.
Yeah. That feels like a joke we made a year ago at this point. Speaking of the music, if you had to pick a fave song from the soundtrack, what is fave song from soundtrack?
Well, I think that like objectively the best song is 3 Small Words.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, you know, the whole like it's brilliant. And another Girls 5 Eva thing that is very similar.
We're gonna be famous 5 Eva.
Because forever's too short.
That's right.
I love my favorite song, like my favorite like angsty, like pretend I still love Avril Lavigne song on that soundtrack is probably Shapeshifter.
Ooh, that is really good.
It's a good like rock out.
I think if I like really, really had to choose a favorite, I think it's Pretend to Be Nice.
Oh yeah, that one's great.
It's such a good song. It's also an Adam Schlesinger joint, which is like why it is.
He's so good.
It's why it's so good. And it is like the song that is written to be their number 1 hit, but like when you're listening to it, you do believe that it's a number 1 hit. Like I really appreciate in shows and TV and things about creating a piece of art when the piece of art is like really quite excellent. And like when I hear Pretend to Be Nice, I'm like, yeah, this 100% could have been played on the radio in 2001. This could have been a #1 hit. I don't feel like you are asking me to suspend my disbelief because it's a movie. Like, this is a hit.
Yeah. I feel like the soundtrack's a spiritual successor to the 10 Things I Hate About You soundtrack.
1,000,000%.
Because of the Kay Henley involvement.
And then a lot of the movie soundtracks of this era are phenomenal, but also just like, man, music was really fun. This was a really fun time for music. Just like, I know that everybody says that because when you think the things that are best when you were 11 are the best things in the world because you were 11, but like, you know, I still think it all kind of slaps when it comes up on Spotify. You're just like, yeah, 100%. Thank you for this one.
Well, that's why Machine Gun Kelly is making guitars cool again.
Oh yeah, were guitars not cool for a while?
No,
well,
then he made
not
them cool
until
again.
not until Machine Gun Kelly, noted virtuoso guitarist, brought it back.
When did they become not cool? When did we decide it wasn't good anymore?
I didn't read the entire interview.
Gotcha. Okay, so they were still cool when Prince was playing at the Super Bowl and his guitar looked like his penis, but then it went
no, that wasn't
again
cool.
after that. That wasn't cool. Okay.
No guitar was cool until Machine Gun Kelly put a humbucker in a pink Telecaster.
Okay.
And declared that he was punk.
Because I did think, and now I see that I'm wrong. 100%, and women often are. So I take that and I acknowledge it. But I thought it was cool when Prince was playing his guitar at the halftime show, and it looked like a penis, and he got around to the censors. But now I realize I was wrong. I get it.
So Sam, I'm now that you just said that, you said humbucker into Telecaster, which means you know something. And am I seeing a guitar in the bottom left hand of your screen?
You sure are. Yeah, that's my regular Telecaster.
Oh yeah,
single coil.
Yeah, that's a fun little thing. I have an instrument next to me too, but it's not cool.
It's a glockenspiel.
A xylophone.
Hold on, I'll get it out of its little case.
The triangle?
Not a triangle. I have to unzip the case.
Is it like a single thing?
No, it's what I learned how to play during the pandemic because I needed a hobby because I was just staring at the wall. This isn't auto.
That's pretty cool.
It's actually fantastic.
That's cool.
It's
weird
not
Alice.
cool, but yeah, exactly. But it is fun, and if it's like really good for people who,
I want to grab my stuff.
If you are a
Y'all
person
want to jam?
who, let's
do it.
Do you guys want to? Now, this only has a certain amount of chords, so we can't choose anything that has like anything too minor because this was mostly written for folk music. But if you want to play anything from the Mighty Wind soundtrack, I'm fully prepared.
I have a Mustang on my wall that I'm like, should I try to lift it with one hand? I don't think I'm going to.
No, we get it.
It's our show and tell.
But I don't. It's not worth the bit to get a concussion.
I completely agree. Or to break this nice guitar.
I'm like about to pull my Les Paul out. I'm so excited.
But what I do think is like great about the movie in general is that like it does make you want to be a rock star. Like I think that that's like lovely. And I'm sure there are some young people who saw this movie and then immediately were like, Mom, I want a guitar. And then there were some people who said, Mom, I want to get my hair cut like Josie. And they said, that's not real. No, sweetheart, that was a movie.
We would not have Machine Gun Kelly were it not for Josie and the Pussycats.
I mean, he looks like a
don't you? Am I wrong?
I have like 100-something-year-old trumpet in my closet.
I think
ska. Let's do it.
Let's do a ska cover of
the entire Josie and the Pussycats soundtrack.
Yes.
I can play power chords.
I'm so down.
Yeah.
I just got rid of my bass, but oh man, if I still have that thing.
Pick it up. Okay. Well, that's good. I think we're at a good spot. Do you all
Very good.
You want to throw it to the unwashed masses, or did anybody have any final?
I don't have anything specific.
Well, just say something non-specific.
Well, I think there's a lot of discussion to be had about like what Scott Pilgrim versus the World owes to Josie and the Pussycats.
Wow.
I was a big Scott Pilgrim dweeb, and I'd never even give Josie and the Pussycats a chance. And now finally watching it, I see so much of the stuff that like Scott Pilgrim, like even in the graphic novels, like borrowed from Josie and the Pussycats, and some of the stuff that was so subversive about Scott Pilgrim was like directly a subversion of something from this movie. not saying it's a bad thing, but it adds a layer to both of these movies. But it did the same thing where it's like, yeah, man, it makes you like want to be like in a shitty band, or they never become rock stars per se in Scott Pilgrim, really. But yeah, I don't know. There's just a lot of cool similarities, and both very well crafted and very earnestly done. And I think we need more movies about music nerds, but they have to be based on comics, so that's tough.
Okay.
It is.
What if we got to pick the most obscure character from the DC universe of comics? We need to write the most banging songs imaginable for these characters. And then we need to sell it as a franchise where by night they're a supervillain or whatever, but by day they play in like a shitty punk band. And then it's like, guys, we got a gig. We're playing at the garage at 11 o'clock on Thursday. And he's like, oh, yo, I got a bank robbery on Thursday at 11. You know what I'm saying?
Holy!
I mean,
whoa! Loco Madman! Holy hell!
What did we do? What did we say?
$70 Canadian? That's like $5 American.
Don't offend them; they'll take it back.
They can't take it back.
Nice. I don't have any stake in this. I don't think I'm getting any of this, but I'm so excited about this.
I think you should make all of it.
All right. Did you mistype? Like, is that a? Did you mean to say like
69?
No, it's
I don't think
69
so.
on purpose.
Yeah,
it could have been 69
Nice.
cents or nice. Hey,
Nice.
Do you want to watch a movie more than Demolition Man? Who cares about that shit? I'm just kidding. We'll still do Demolition Man, but did you want to do a different movie?
Local Madman, you've got 3 seconds to answer
you
before
got
the other. Before...
I mean, whatever. You just throw
you
it
can
in
make
there
us watch.
You
can make us watch like The Square again or something at that price point.
I'll even watch The Square if you could believe it.
I like The Square.
Yeah, The Square is great.
Too long.
It's $54.83 US apparently, which is still great.
That's still fantastic.
Nice.
The joke isn't as funny. $54.83 is a less well-known sex act, but not like the famous one.
It's pretty good. Yeah, you're like most of the way turned, just not. You're at like a 78-degree angle. So
one thing I will say before we throw this to the unwashed masses, I love movies with female villains. I just really love it. I loved it as a kid. It was one of those things I couldn't really like put my finger on, but I always really like a campy female villain. It's like one of my greatest. I don't know. I just love it so much. And so
in a way, if there was no Josie and the Pussycats, there'd be no Ragnarok.
I really kind of do feel that a little bit.
Nonsense.
I I don't know. There's just something about it was obviously not at all appreciated in its time when it was released. Do you know what I'm saying? Nobody was sitting there being like, "Oh my God, Parker Posey, what a camp icon!"
They should have.
But they should have. But now knowing that people look back on it and go "Oh my God, Parker Posey, camp icon, phenomenal, great performance, love it, perfect." Yeah. I see so much of that in just the kind of characters people write or play, or I think it's fun when we have a fun and dumb campy female villain, especially one who is not motivated by sex revenge. This is a little bit sex revenge, but it's more like popular kid revenge, not sex revenge.
Yeah, it feels very petty and not about a man.
100%. And it's just great. I love it. I think we need more of those. And if anybody's got a script which has a stupid female villain, you just send it to me because I'll do it for the low cost of $54.83 US dollars.
Hell yeah. Or 69 Canadian.
Or 69 Canadian. I'll take it.
Cool. Let's see if anybody had anything to say. This is a great point by the Francis Canader. Why is it that girly movies are slammed and called dumb, but overly masculine action movies are summer blockbusters? I think.
Why do you think?
Even more than that, it is interesting that, you will see, even in the Expendables didn't get great reviews, right? People weren't falling over themselves to say how great it was, but almost every review had the caveat, but it's fun. It's not good, but it's fun. Whereas with Josie and the Pussycats and similar type movies, it feels less likely that you get that. It's I didn't like it. 1 star.
I I'm entitled to my opinion. I don't have to explain myself.
If they see one more ex-Marine going rogue to avenge their family.
This happened a lot in Josie and the Pussycats.
This did. They took her daughter.
Yeah. There's a remix of the opening of Josie and the Pussycats by Cartoon Network.
Yes.
Oh, you just unlocked a memory.
Yes, you did. And also, this is our favorite anime big tit friends back again.
Yeah,
with a brand new one.
Looking pretty
a lot less spicy. Thank you.
Well, they're still there.
I mean, I know
look forward
to
what you bring to the table every week. The Zealot Master one.
Let her live.
What does this movie say about the culture, seeing that Josie herself had to be brainwashed?
Are you saying that, like, she wouldn't have been a sellout if she hadn't been brainwashed? Because I think that is sort of what the movie is implying, that, like, the higher-ups knew these friends would never turn on each other for money. They had to, like, interfere and play dirty by implanting it in her brain.
She wasn't immune to it, though, right? That is kind of a weird, I mean, it's not weird, but it is interesting that they didn't make it like, I don't know, she was the only one who didn't want to drink Gatorade or whatever. I mean, it wouldn't
work on her because she's got tiny earbuds in that are playing Kate Bush.
She's running up that hill.
You are all joking, but I have 2 Kate Bush posters in my office that no one's ever seen.
Really?
On camera. I'm like the biggest fan of Kate Bush, like in
amazing.
In like the world.
Here's a question. Vecna grabs you, puts it in his evil clock hell. If they blast Josie and the Pussycats, are you running in slow motion?
I might be, but it honestly would be more likely to be like, "Why Should I Love You" from one of Kate Bush's albums. Like, I probably would be a lot closer to that 80s bitch.
I love Allie arguing with Vecna about like a Kate Bush B-side.
Yeah. I'm like, do you have Babushka? I want Babushka.
Right.
Play Ariel.
Vecna's like, I know you don't like this one as much. You can't escape with this one.
No, he's got like Spotify.
Friend.
He's got like Spotify, free Spotify or whatever.
Your death is like, because of a Squarespace ad.
Is this best of? I'm kind of a real fan. You don't have to play best of. You can play a weird shit.
Yeah, you're running towards the portal or whatever, and then it's like an ad, and it just like you
That's really funny.
Yeah, there you go. There's a Spotify ad.
Hey, this is good. We can keep doing show and tell. I'll show you my auto
Spotify.
I'll show you all the posters that are in my office.
I'll show you my Spotify password.
I'll show you my Spotify password.
I don't have anything else cool in here, unfortunately. Water bottles. All right. Anyway, Saban and Fox tricked an entire country to show up for the closing scenes of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie 1995 and didn't tell them or pay them as extras. That is fascinating. I don't remember the end of that movie, but I'm sure Jesse does. Jesse, how does that movie?
Yeah, what happened?
I had to pee. I drank too much Coca-Cola, so I left when the credits started rolling.
Have you seen this movie?
I've seen it, but I don't really remember.
Of course you've seen it.
Derogatorily. Of course you've seen it.
You had television. Your parents wouldn't let you have a trampoline.
All you rich kids with your TV out here selling my sister's dolls to buy a Nintendo 64. It doesn't matter. Which is true. That's not actually a bit.
Who did that?
I did.
You sold her dolls?
Well, there were 2. They had a lot of dolls. I have 2 sisters. My parents wouldn't buy me my sisters wouldn't buy me an N64, so I took my Pokemon cards and I took a couple of their like Pokemon dolls, like Eevee and stuff, and I went door to door when I was 10 around our neighborhood selling them until I got
like a TV.
Yeah, like $30-$40 or whatever, and then I sold a Game Boy to somebody, and then I got my friend's mom to drive me to Babbage's because we didn't have a GameStop yet. It wasn't bought out by GameStop, and then I bought it, and then I brought it home, and I was like, it already exists. Can I play it now? Yeah, my sisters wouldn't buy me one. And I told my sisters I would split the money with them, but I don't think I ever...
Were they never like, where's my Eevee doll?
No. So I made a deal with them. I was like, I'll let you play the N64. Which they were. Is
that the deal with God that Kate Bush was talking about and running up that hill?
Yeah.
Is that the titular deal with God?
I switched places with my sister's dolls. There's a song called Backdoor Lover.
I mean, it's a real bop. It sounds like a Max Martin 2000s. Yeah, it's really good.
Well, I couldn't get it to monetize, so the only money that we've made is from Canada and Europe. So,
can't take that from us.
Sebastian Munoz, Rubilar says, "No puedo hablar en español. Lo siento." It could have been an Archie universe with this movie, and since Archie has a crossover with Predator, which actually we pointed out, the Punisher goes to Riverdale, just kills everybody. Jesse and I actually did a video about that nobody watched.
Oh, good.
But
nice,
it was
congrats.
Great. But I agree, that would be really fun. Speaking of videos that we've made that nobody watched, Vegeta says that the calculator video we just put out on Friday was funny, or Tuesday was funny. Thanks.
Thank you, Royal Vegeta.
Nobody watched it. All right. Anything else? I'm an enigma, says Cracked itself. Brian, presumably. Okay, so alternate titles. I don't know if anybody warned you about this, Samantha. Did anyone? Are you aware of this?
3 girls, 1 band.
Hey.
All right. Let me write these down.
Did that come out the same year?
I don't think so.
Actually,
also,
there would be no 2 Girls, 1 Cup without Josie and the Pussycats.
Yeah. Also, 2 Girls, 1 Cup is owned by Warner.
Yeah, Roger Ebert didn't get it when it came out. It was kind of sick.
Didn't get it.
This is just like Pub Girl.
I miss when every year there was like a shock thing.
I know. We're just constantly shocked now because the world's so bad.
Everything's just so horrible.
Everything just fucking blows. I don't care. Shit wherever you want. It's a free country.
Every year on my birthday,
what am I gonna do? Tell women what not to do? Go shit.
Yeah, I was gonna make a Predator joke, but I feel like we've moved past that.
Well, now you have to make it.
I just think that the Predator would be great in 2 Girls, 1 Cup. I was just gonna tie a few things together, but you guys got real.
That's the kind of crossover we're looking for.
If we have any artists, that are watching right now, draw some fan art, send it over to us.
Yeah, we'll throw that up on the YouTube. We'll be fine.
We'll get that monetized.
Throw that up on Facebook. Say I hate Mark Zuckerberg. Picture of that. See what happens.
We're trying to do more engaging tweets. What's more engaging than Predator engaging in 2 Girls, 1 Cup?
Apparently, that new Prey movie is pretty good. So it's timely. Yeah. It's got a woman in it. I don't know if she poops, but
just one.
Well, but it's also like all the lead actors are Native American, right?
Oh, that's cool. I actually don't know anything about it.
Is that like 2 Girls, 1 Cup? I haven't seen it. May surprise you. I know you did because you had a TV.
Yeah, they were often showing it on television.
I pulled it up on my AOL TV.
Yeah, at night, if you kept the TV on for too long, it went to the Pure Moods ad, and then after that, 2 Girls, 1 Cup.
Yeah, it was kind of fuzzy, but sometimes if you messed with it, it would you could see it.
Yeah, if you smack the side. Okay, well, that's one title. Does anyone have
I'm so sorry for that title. It wasn't a serious
No,
one.
I have a title. Are you ready for this? Everybody needs to listen really closely.
Yeah, Allie, we're ready. What is it?
Listen closely. Allie is the most jerkin girl in the world. Everybody loves Allie. She has the best hair and the most awesome clothes, and she's so thin.
Great.
Allie is jerkin.
Okay.
I've never seen Allie more jerkin than just then.
That was the exact line from the movie, and I thought it was so funny I had to write it down.
It's great. That's really funny.
Okay.
So anyway, I hope everyone was listening really hard when I said that. Just take it in.
Anybody else have a title? Jesse, you got a title?
Oh God. Du jour means podcast. Like even ethniage. It's like a very it's that Simpsons episode with superliminal messaging.
Say it again.
It's from The Simpsons?
It's from The Simpsons. Even ethniage is join the Navy backwards, and it's a whole thing where they're like a band that sings a song called Even ethniage, if I recall correctly. So even ethniage. Let's see. Okay, that's it.
Great.
God.
All I had was white ass Wally, just because I like
Yeah.
white ass Wally.
Good.
And just nobody's pimp, because at some point she says that she's nobody's pimp, but I think
I
that's the
also,
opposite of what
as far
she
as
means.
standalone lines go, I also really love the line, and I thank God every day I knew the lyrics to Enter Sandman. And I feel like that could very well be the title for this too.
It's so funny.
That was really funny. It was weird too, because did they just like lose the actors after those first two scenes? Like clearly that wasn't them. Like that wasn't Seth Green wrapped up in a body cast, right?
I mean, I don't think you can pay Seth Green to come get wrapped up in a body cast. Do you know what I mean?
It's like 3 scenes, but they only got 3 of them for 2 scenes. I just thought it was a really weird. He's still here, but like he's instead of just killing him or something.
I feel like because this is only a couple years after
9/11, right.
Yeah, Seth Green took 9/11 really hard. But no, I feel like to me it felt like there was a lot of stuff, even like the Eugene Levy. Sorry,
yeah,
whichever one, that cameo. It just felt like, oh, these are people that like each other. Like they like these big names like want to be in this movie. So I feel like, I don't know, Seth Green just like came by and he's like, yeah, I'll do whatever. It'd be fun. I can come back for the end, or you could just wrap me in duct tape and and I won't even make a return. I don't know.
I did. I just saw Bullet Train and it was fine. It was whatever. I enjoyed it, but I didn't think it was like the best movie I've ever seen. But they do a lot of cameos throughout. Like every character that appears that they've been alluding to the whole time shows up, and you're like, "Ow!" It's like the famous person. That's cool. And I do think it did give off that vibe of a movie where everybody was just having fun making it.
Yeah,
and I do think that helps a lot.
Wouldn't you love to be Carson Daly, who is now kind of a pop culture butt of a joke, but at the time, like, who wasn't running home to watch TRL? Like, it was like the biggest. I mean, okay, Mr. I played with sticks.
Jordan.
Sorry, you were friends with the Predator. Okay,
Jordan would have loved.
Some of us went home and watched TRL.
Jordan would have loved
pooping in cups with the Predator.
But like, I think I can imagine being somebody who was as busy and as famous as Carson Daly, and somebody being like, would you like to play yourself in a movie? Except it's not really yourself. You're kind of an idiot and it'll be fun. And like being like, of course I want to do that. I do nothing but talk to Frankie Muniz all the time now. Like what I want to do is like do a stupid fun movie where I like play myself and make fun of myself and say it's more like Total Request Dead. Like, this is fun.
You know, in a way, there could be no This Is the End without Josie and the Pussycats.
And I did love that movie. I thought that movie was really fun.
Yeah, we should do that.
I like that one a lot. I was very surprised by this. Well, I didn't love the last third as much, but it was very, very fun. I was just gonna say, Tara Reid and him were dating at this time too. I don't know if you saw like all the jokes of like, she's like, I'd never date you or whatever, and that was just like part of the joke. And then she grabs Matt Damon cutout, and so I was like, Tara Reid and Matt Damon. Like I didn't know if that was also a joke. I didn't have TV. I don't know if you guys.
That's cool. Has that made you normal?
Oh my god! Wait, holy crap! Bullet Train is kind of like Lucky Number 11. That's what we're watching after Demolition Man. Holy
I thought you were gonna say instead of, and I thought you were about to have that.
No. I'm not gonna do. I'm not gonna
a bidding war. Cross-continental bidding war.
Holy crap! I had a TV. I didn't have TV. I didn't have cable. Shut up, Brian. Okay. Here are my. I already did my titles. Here are the titles of the masses. She's All That Jazz.
Okay. Now you know I like that one. My favorite movie.
Showgirls 2.
It's okay, 3 actually.
That's true. Rest in peace, Elizabeth Berkley, or what was her name? What's the actress's name? Or is that I'm thinking 2 different actresses. 2 girls, 1 cup. Who remembers?
Are we thinking about Lisa Left Eye Lopez?
No, the Brittany Murphy is who I'm thinking of. She's not a Showgirls.
No, she's not. She's not.
But
what a talent.
Scooby-Doo with music too.
Funny.
I like this because it was sort of written like an old English folk ballad.
With
Riverdale Origins.
That is true.
It's great.
Josie gets a shrink ray gun.
Does that happen?
Janie get a gun? No. Are you just talking? Maybe that's not even a title.
Maybe that was a wish.
Josie and the premature satire.
Nice.
Josie gets
my
brainwashed.
satire came prematurely.
No, Seth Green and Tara Reid didn't date. Tara Reid and Carson Daly dated.
Oh.
I mean, I guess you could have dated Seth Green. I'll date Seth Green. Who cares? All right.
Who cares?
We're a little over, so we're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna be done. We're gonna wrap it up.
We gotta go jam.
I got a hot date. All right, so we're live streaming every Thursday at 4 if you haven't picked up on it by now. And next week is apparently Demolition Man. So
wow.
We're gonna do that.
Hope we can find it to watch it.
Yeah. So subscribe to us on YouTube mostly, but we also do an audio version on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, everywhere like that. I'll put a link somewhere where you can request other movies from us, but it really does help if you give us money first. I will say. And yeah, so Sam, thanks so much for coming on. Where can we find you? What are you
doing?
Sam,
this is awesome. Thank you.
Yeah,
thanks. It was so much fun.
What's your Twitter handle, or where can people find you?
So I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Samly Matters, SAMLY Matters, and yeah, you can follow me on there and watch Josie and the Pussycats join the army.
The Navy, Sam, the Navy.
No, it's different. Great. Allie, where can we find you?
You can find me at Miss Alice Nutting. I usually spell it, but now I realize it's right there. I don't need to spell it. So, do that.
Well, there's a podcast version too, but
okay. So if you're not reading it, it's at MSALICENUTTING. That's how you spell it.
You're welcome, whoever listened to only this episode.
Welcome.
Great. Are you doing any things? Sometimes you talk about other stuff.
Am I doing any other things? I don't think so. I am kind of locking down in the house a lot nowadays, to be entirely honest.
You're getting married. That's something.
I am getting married soon, and I really don't.
Podcast fans get into the wedding?
Yeah, if you give over $69 of Canadian money, you can come to the wedding. I really don't want to get COVID. You know how it goes. It's just fun to be alive right now.
Yep. Just next week we'll share the venue so that everybody.
Yeah. If you keep tuning in every week, you'll learn a little bit more and more about where and when to arrive. It's sort of like an escape room in that way, and that I'm not going to give you all the hints at once, but you kind of have to keep coming back and exploring, and then you'll find out how to unlock the safe that tells you where the venue is. Oh
yeah, hell yeah! That's the show. So many mystery boxes. Eisemann, where can we find you?
Here's what I want you to do. I want you to go to the YouTube channel and watch the calculator video we just put up. Don't follow me on Twitter until after you've watched the video.
I'll block you.
And I will know if you watched or not.
Yeah, the calculator video is great. We're hoping to make a couple more, but got to convince somebody to pay for it. So we'll see. $69 of Canadian, though. Not bad.
That's a lot of duct tape.
That's a lot of duct tape. But anyway, you can find me at _J_breeding on the Twitter. But ultimately, just please watch our YouTube videos. I spend too much time doing them. And Your Brain on Crack Season 4 reappears tomorrow. It drops tomorrow. It's different in some ways. It's stupid in all ways.
Oh, good.
We're going to start doing those more regularly. So I think that's it. Anybody else got anything? Anything? No? Okay.
That's it. Thanks again, Sam. This is great. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks so much, everyone.
Yeah. All right. Goodbye, world. Cruel world.